Okay, first let me start by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Also want to say double honors to the apostles and elders of James Stone, to the Akim that are out there pushing this truth in sincerity to the full elect. Shalom. This is Brother Kanan here with a quick lesson, and this lesson will be centered around wisdom and making wise decisions. Right? So we are supposed to be wise men, especially the fact that we have this truth and the fear of the Lord. And we know the fear of the Lord is the beginning of what? Knowledge and wisdom. Right? We also know that the laws, fear of basically going against Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, breaking his laws, which the laws are basically wisdom that was given unto us, But it goes a little beyond just the laws of the Bible. And I find it so a lot of the times making the decisions or making certain decisions, becomes harder when it's not bound by the law per se. If you get what I'm trying to explain. So, Bible say you must commit adultery, you must worship other gods, you must eat forbidden meat, pork, shrimp, all those things. Those are kind of clear. Those are not kind of. Those are clear and straightforward. But a lot of times, brothers, even myself, some struggles with making other decisions in regards to just genuine life overall, making wise decisions. Sometimes some of it is emotion, some of it is, this society is messed up, so so you kind of care a little less than you really should, at times. Not saying that you must be be going, not saying you must go above and beyond in the sense where you put yourself out the way to do some things like, for example, clothing and those things. Those things, some of the laws you cannot keep them. And you'd have to go extra mile to keep some of those laws per se. It's difficult in Babylon. But I'm not speaking on that aspect. I'm talking about like making decisions in your daily life. Because all of the decisions you're making, and these are the tricky ones, all decisions you're going to be making have an effect on who you are and how you tread this truth. All right? Whether it be a financial decision, whether it be a decision on work, whether it be a decision on, financial work, same thing. Whether it be a decision on your family, whether it be a decision on every single aspect of your life. It always going to have either a negative or a positive reaction or effect on who you are in this truth. And that is when a lot of times, bad decisions are being made, or decisions that should have been better were not made. So this lesson is basically kind of around that, right? So let me just go to the first scriptures, right? There are a lot of scriptures, but I'm just going to try to make it as quick and to the point as possible as I can, right? So let me go to, let's start from Proverbs 1, and it says, the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, this is Proverbs 1:1, the king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. Right? A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and the dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. All right, so I'm going to start from the last part of this, the verse that I read, verse 7, right? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instructions. Now, when you fear the Heavenly Father, every single thing you do, basically, you will have, you basically are, you'll have the Lord in your back of your mind when making a decision. How does this affect the ministry? That's how it really should be. So how does this affect you and the ministry? Right? Because that is the ultimate goal and desire that you are working towards, everything comes underneath that. So all of that basically guides you throughout your path. You know what I mean? You seek the Lord in all things, right? And lean not unto your own understanding in trying to make decisions when you're making your decisions. Because a lot of times the decision is being pushed by the flesh, or well, flesh basically your ego, your emotions, your carnal aspect of you, and not on the spiritual side, right? So you want to fix this, you want to get this rectified. All these things, you know what I mean, they have an effect on who you are and how you operate in this truth. And I mean, and we have to develop and learn to be wise men, learning to understand what is being put in front of us and how to basically navigate it in the best way, shape, and form. All right. So also you have to learn how to be subtle, to give subtlety. You have to know how to be crafty in righteousness, not scamming and government people, but basically being slippery as a snake. The Bible says, be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. You have to know to swivel your way through life, basically, in the sense where you are doing it in a righteous standpoint, because you're going to be engaging in traps and you have to know to navigate through those traps, right? So all of these things come under wisdom. While we have the laws as a lamp and a guideline as a basically foundation to guide us, we build and increase on that. You know what I mean? There are a lot of things that are not good for us, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's due to financial strain for some. You know what I mean? So sometimes you just go about and do you just go about it, just living because it's really difficult to actually in that aspect of it. Yes, I understand. Yes, I know what it is like, but if you can do better for yourself and do understand for yourself, certain things you avoid, certain things you try to, you know and I'm guilty of that a lot of times. Sometimes I just, because society is like that, it's difficult. Sometimes it's frustrating to find things that is really healthy for you are better for you. And I mean, so yes, we're all guilty of that at times, right? But other aspect of it, the layer continues in every part walk of your life. You have to be able to that's what the Lord give you the spirit to this a discernment. You have to be able to see what is in front of you and see that the prettiness over what you're looking at is really a trap. You have to be able to see that, because that's our trap. A trap is not going to appear to you clear as a trap unless you have the spirit of discernment to see that it's a trap. So at the times we get caught in traps, and then we're trying to pull ourselves out the traps because we did not make wise decisions and discernment. While it is here to teach us, you know what I mean? Because again, we're not perfect, right? We're going to make wrong decisions at times, but we have to learn from it, and that's where the refining takes place. So when it comes again the next time, you may be a better person in doing it. All right. But the whole aspect of being, learning, fearing the Lord is what to increase. Well, trusting in the Lord overall, which is wisdom, but it increase and makes you what? Wise men. You know what I mean? The Lord hate and despise fools. So if you're continuously doing foolishly, the Lord is going to eventually despise you in this presence, right? And we don't want that. We want to be seen by the Lord that we are faithful, wise steward of Him, and we're working to improve His, to get His business established upon the earth, right? Put it that way. All right, so let me go to the next precept, right? So this is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. All right? So you have to be redeeming the time. You have to be basically walking in a mindset where you're constantly on the watch. That's where you're going to see all the traps, because the traps are there disguised nicely, right? So you have to be circumspect, right? He says, see then you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, right? Redeeming the time because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is, and be not drunk with wine, where is excess, but filled with the Holy Spirit. Right? And this way you have to constantly endure in the spirit in order to have that spirit of discernment to be able to see. Because when you're gone to the flesh, you're gonna be drawn more to the flesh, so you're gonna be leaning more to the fleshly side, and therefore that your flesh may have a more say in what you're doing rather than the spirit telling you that this is what you need to do. And they're contrary. They're like going, there's the two. You see the cartoons with the two, the angel and demon on one side on your shoulder. That's what it's like. The spirit is on one side and the flesh is on the other side, telling you otherwise. That's what that represents, right? Now let me move to the next precept, right? So we are in an evil time, right? Perilous times, dangers uh, are all around us constantly. And I mean, people that are going to be, working on the behalf of the devil, not understanding what they're doing, thinking that they're in their right doing what they are doing. But you have to be wise and subtle about how you navigate and move through these paths, all right? Because one wrong decision for you, and I mean, can lead down to a big dungeon or a big trap you get caught in, right? So you have to be able to see these things when they're happening. You have to be able to say, "Oh, that's the devil trying to, to grab at you." All right, and also learning to restrain yourself. And I mean, because not because you're able to do something means that you are or you should do something. All right, not because you're able to you have the power to cause things to happen means that you should cause things to happen. Not because you're also right means that you should always try to be right. All these things are things that we have to learn and develop on so that we can become better persons. All right? And you have to also trust Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which is the main thing. You have to trust Yahweh Hashem Yahushai that He is seeing everything, and therefore your justice will always be established no matter what. Why you think people suffer and go through all kind of chaotic events daily? Because the Lord is judging people. That's why people lose people. That's why people lose, themselves, their mind. People go mad. That's why people lose a lot of things because they live not preparing and getting themselves prepared for the judgment and Allah is going to bring when they make certain decisions or when they do certain things. They think that what they do is what they do and it stays that way and there's no recompense for it. But don't later on the line, the Lord is going to say, look here, you've been doing this for too long. Now it's time to judge you. And that's where people get the belt across them back, whichever way the Lord decides and sees it fit to give them it. All right? So you have to trust that and you have to basically allow the Lord to make whatever is being, revealed to you come out. And we have examples in the scriptures that shows you this. And I mean, we have Joseph. Joseph was wrongfully thrown in a pit by his brothers, then sold, to those slaves, to those Ishmaelites, and I mean, then get brought to Egypt, all that story that and all that play out happened, and I mean, then he went there, then he was thrown in prison, right? All to do what? To get brought up on a level, and then when he was brought up on a level, he understood the scenarios, but he was going through situation that he was not the cause of per se. And I mean, that the Lord was the one doing all of that. So you have to allow the Lord to know that the Lord is doing every single thing, and therefore He has an end result or end that He wants to get you to when He's doing whatever He's doing. All right, and that comes with patience and accepting, understanding, discernment as well. You know what I mean? I move to the next precept, right? So this is First Peter, right? And that's why again I said Joseph had the power to be able to do things, you know what I mean? And he did certain things, but he did it in to get them, his brothers to this was what the Lord wanted, yo. He was subtle about it, but he was doing it in what? Righteousness. And there's countless amount of examples that the Lord shows you that in the scriptures, right? So this is First Peter chapter 5, and I'm gonna go to, let's start from 5. It says, likewise, ye younger, submit yourself unto the elder. Ye all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. For Yahweh resisted the proud, and giveth grace to the humble. Right? That ego has to go out. You know what I mean? So you have to be humble with humility. Right? Humble yourselves, therefore, right? Not under men, right? But humble yourselves, therefore, which of course is going to be played out on the men at times to show that you're humble. Humble yourself most of the times. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Yahweh, that he may exalt you in due time. That's what happened to Joseph, right? You have to be humble, so the Lord will exalt you in due time. Casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you, right? So be sober, be vigilant, circumspect, right? Because your adversary, the devil, right? Again, who is the devil? Right? We know that the so-called white man, but on another level, we know that there's a spiritual demon out there that is going through people, um, just like how Judas, the spirit of Satan came upon him, right? And Yahushai, you know that at that time it was on him. You know what I mean? Other man as well, when spirit of demon, when Satan come upon them, the Lord rebuke them as well. So anyone, the demon can go to anyone, right? Your partner, right? Your family, people that are basically, around you, tempting you. Even brothers, it can happen too. The demon can just jump on a brother at a time to test you as well, right? You have to be able to discern it, because well, let's talk about Peter. Peter is a highly man in this truth. Is a man that is highly esteemed in this truth. He's of great stock, basically, if you want to put it that way. But at the same time, the spirit came upon him. So we're no better than Peter. You know what I mean? It all happens. And sometimes even ourselves, the demon will jump on ourselves to test you. Talking to yourself, telling you things that you have to rebuke. So you have to be vigilant and circumspect in all of these things, knowing the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. But let's continue. Right? Because it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. Right? So this is happening to all brothers. We're all going through the fire. We're all going through our temptation. Or we are going through to that, we are getting tempted. Basically, we are being tested. Let's put it that way. We are being tested, and we have to basically prove what we're made of. You know what I mean? So again, be wise as a wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Right? Understanding what is happening around you and how to navigate throughout it, so that it doesn't pull you into the trap that is there, and you get caught up with it, and then you're trying to tough it out and fight yourself out of what you are in. Let the Lord work and have him work. So that I hope someone was edified. I hope it come down to what, the point was made where you understood what I'm trying to get at. With that, we give all praise to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Rakakadash, and Shalom.